Time, its concept and its management. Methods of time management are preparing a checklist of things to be done. Part of success in life is respect for time and persistent hard work. If you work hard during the first few hours of the day, in the morning, or say 8 to 12, 10, 12, you'll be happy for the whole day. Everything to be done within the time allotted for this purpose, and that is respect. If you don't respect time, you will be punished by time, and you won't know you have been punished.
The quote is like, जिंदगी में इतनी शिद्दत के साथ अपने किरदार को निभाओ कि पर्दा गिरने के बाद भी तालियां बजती हैं।
Just drawn inside your reading.
A very warm good morning to everyone assembled here. It gives me immense pleasure to extend to you a very warm welcome on the 6th lecture of the ongoing lecture series 2022 and 2023. I welcome today's key speaker, Mr. C.Phunsog, former Vice-chancellor, University of Ladakh, Dean Academic Affairs, Professor Dishram Namgyal, Special Secretary to Vice-chancellor, Mr. Wangchuk, Dean Research, Professor Jordan, Dean Student Welfare, Professor Dejan, dear faculties and students. It is my honor to introduce today's key speaker, who laid the foundation stone for this university and who has been appointed as the first Vice-Chancellor to the University of Ladakh. Mr. C.Phunsog is known for his erudite bureaucrat of highest administrative acumen with rich experience. He also served as the chairman of the Public Enterprise Selection Board of the Government of India. He received an Albert Corbin Fellow from 1979 to 1980 at the Woodrow Wilson School of the Princeton University. He also served as a Chief Secretary of the Jammu and Kashmir State. He has served in various capacities at senior level at both state and center. Mr. C.Phunsog had an illustrious career where we all can learn from his talk. Now may I request Professor Dishram Namgyal to felicitate our key speaker, Mr. C.Phunsog, with Khataks and Memento. Mr. C.Phunsog, with his rich experience, now will listen to his talk on time, concept, and management. Now I request Mr. C.Phunsog to deliver his lecture.
Thank you very much, distinguished participants of this. I want this to be a dialogue read, not a lecture. I've chosen a subject which is usually very difficult given the best of circumstances. Time. Time. What is time? Time, its concept and its management. Very important, particularly for the students, and how to utilize time most economically. I thought this would be, this is my second, I think, lecture on time. You remember, one was in EJM College, I think about 3 years ago. Third.
One second time was in
gives humans a feeling that it is passing. Time chala gaya. Time ja raha hai. Is it something that is flowing like a fluid, like water? Is it something that blows like the wind? Nothing like that. Nothing that flows. Both flowing of fluids and blowing of winds are driven by energy. But time is not driven by energy. Time is something which depends on existence. There's existence around here, and therefore the feeling of time is passing. There's nothing passing. The succession of existence of space that gives an impression that something is passing. Or passing of events in the universe. Events are taking place, changes are taking place around us, and that gives an impression that time is passing. Although there is nothing like something that is passing. Now, even the modern science has not been able to find out the exact nature of time. What is it all about? I'll quote one writing by John D. Barrow, a British astrophysicist. He has written in his book, and I think very important, I'll quote it from his writing. The nature of time is one of those baffling problems that physicists have debated for centuries, but have made depressingly meager progress in unraveling. What is it? New scientific theories, be they the relativity or the quantum theory, invariably bring with them a new perspective upon the nature of time. But they usually add another puzzling aspect to lie alongside those we already have, rather than presenting a decisive new viewpoint that replaces all that went before. But a modern scientist saying very important. Thus, modern scientists also they are not comfortable with one definition of time. So time is, now, that's why it's very important to understand the nature, how to make the best use of this, enigmatic concept. Now, how is it defined? One is, it's contemplative, our thinking. Time is moving, time is flowing. Time is not something tangible. It is only a change of things and thoughts around us. It's a contemplative, not of science. A measure of continuous and consistent change in our surroundings. A study of passing events. That's the contemplative. And when you think about time, then you come to this conclusion. But scientists have also defined time. Scientists say time is not something discrete. Time and space are fundamentally related. You can't think one without the other. In order for space to exist, time should pass. Otherwise, space won't exist. And in order for time to pass, space should exist. Otherwise, it's meaningless. So they're each other's property, so to say. Students of science will understand. Time is a property of space that is existing, and space that is existing is a property of time. So they are mutually dependent on each other. Time, this has come to be known as space-time continuum, which is the modern science, particularly the relativity theory. This is very important. Now, measure of time. How do we measure time? The human beings have found out cyclical nature of happenings that are taking place in the universe. Like the earth is revolving around the sun. That is your year. One revolution and 1 year. The moon is revolving around the earth. That gives you a measure of a month. The earth is rotating around its own axis once, and that is day and night. So that we have learned to measure time this way, because there is no other measure. Then we have devised instruments like clocks, timepieces and watches to count our time, which is passing. We feel it's passing, although there is nothing passing. Arrow of time. Now time has an arrow. That is what we feel. Past, present, future. It can't be reversed. Time doesn't come from future to the present and goes back into the past. So it has an arrow like entropy. Entropy is constantly on the increase into the future. So time is an arrow like entropy, and it's a vector. In conceptually, it's a vector. Vector means it has a direction, like force and gravity. Students of science should know about this. Now, passage of time, this counting of time's passage. Now, that is also not absolute. It depends on the gravity in which the situation is looked upon. It also depends on the speed with which the observer is moving. If you are an observer, if you are moving into the space with high speed, time passes slower to you. So it's not absolute, the passage is not absolute. Similarly, if something is happening in a high gravity situation, gravity is very high, time passes slower. An example which is usually given, twins, 10-year-old twins. One of them goes into the space, travels into space at high speed close to the speed of light, let's say. So another 50 years hence, 50 years, the one on the ground would be 60 years old. And the one who comes back from the space would be only 20 years or so, because the time is fast, slower for it. That's the concept about the speed of time, which depends on the speed with which the observer is moving, or the gravity in which the measurement is taken. So this is known as time dilation. So it is length and length. Now, time as a resource. What is a resource? Resource is something which is required and useful in productive things. In order to produce anything, you need resource. And the best example of resources are land is a resource which is needed for construction and development. Water is a resource. Unless you have water, you can't do this. Similarly, you have human goodwill is a resource. Your parents' goodwill is a resource to you. Money is a resource. Other properties are a resource. The more resourceful, the richer you are, you can achieve more in life. That is a general understanding. So time is also a resource, because you need time to do something. To achieve anything, you need time. It's a resource. But it's a peculiar resource, unlike the other resources. You can't save it. Other resources can be saved. Money can be saved and multiplied also. Land can be saved. If it is not used today, it can be used any time in the future. Land. Similarly, property, your buildings can be a resource. You can sell it off and invest the money in something else. It's a good resource. Water is a resource. You can use water for productive purposes, and so on. But time is a resource which can't be saved. You can't say that this hour I'll save for future and use in the future. It passes. So time is a resource which can't be saved, and you have to utilize it as and when it's available. Okay. So what happens is, whether you are successful in life or you are not as successful in life, depends on how you utilize this resource, this time resource. Some people while it away, procrastinate, kal karenge, parson karenge, fir karenge kabhi. Then with the result that he is unhappy, kuch nahi ho pa raha. Some people utilize it every hour. This hour I have to utilize it fully, and he is happy, and he can produce more. Peter Drucker, you might have heard about him. He is known as the management guru. Further on modern management. Peter Drucker. He has said time is a peculiar resource. No matter how much more you want, there is no more of it. You would like to have more time, but there is no more of it. Unlike money and everything, you can if your money is exhausted, you can borrow it from the bank. But here's a resource which can't be saved, which can't be multiplied, and you have to utilize it as and when it becomes available. Otherwise, you have lost it. Now that is why time management becomes important. Time management means performing tasks and organizing events in time for the most productive use of the time. That is time management. And what are the methods of time management, particularly for the students and for teachers and everyone as well? The methods of time management are preparing a checklist of things to be done. You prepare a checklist of things to be done tomorrow. I'll do this, and this. In the evening today, you plan it for tomorrow, or in the morning, early in the morning. Checklist. You have to do 1, 2, 3, 4. And as and when you go on doing this, go on checking. I've done this. This is yet to be done. Preparing a checklist of things to be done daily. Making a work schedule. I have a note, I'll pass it on to them for circulation recipes. Work schedule for work to be done. For example, if it is examination, in the morning I'll do this, I'll sit through the examination, after that this and that. Prepare a schedule and stick to that. And don't just forget it. Setting a calendar of tasks and events for a day, for a week, for a month, and for a year, and for the life. What are the things to be done and when? You make a note somewhere, keep a diary with you. Go on doing this and go on checking it as and when things get done. Prioritizing things to be done. If you have a list of 10 things to be done tomorrow, prioritize. The first priority is this, second is this. Go on paying your attention, priority-wise. And budget your time for daily, for weekly, monthly, yearly, for the whole life. I'll budget. Time is, your resource is limited. You put this budget. For 1 year I'll do this, for 10 days I'll do this, and so on and so forth. Budgeting time. Now, other aspects of time management. The mantra of success, and I think I borrowed it from somewhere, but I subscribe to this. The mantra of success in life is respect for time and persistent hard work. Respect for time and persistent hard work. What is persistent? Persistent. You work hard. You work hard for 10 minutes and then you leave it. That is not persistent. You have to be persisting with this. There is a saying, a river cuts through hard rocks, not because of its force, but because of its persistence. You might have seen, at the bottom of every river, you will find stones round like eggs. You will find stones like human feelers. You find stones like animal feelers, various kinds of them. And some people collect these in their drawing rooms, I have seen. What is it? This river has persistently worked on this stone. Keep it rolling for thousands of years. And then finally it comes like this. If it was one force of a river, say during floods, it can't do anything. It may break a thing, but it can't work out a thing. So persistence is very important for students particularly. Your hard work has to be persistent. It is said that it is through hard work, it is through persistent hard work that long distances between your ambitions and your capabilities can be traversed, can be shortened. Persistence. The long distance, you are very ambitious, fine, but you can't support it with persistent hard work, and therefore you are frustrated. So your ambition should be backed by persistent hard work, and then you will be successful and you will be happy in life. Now, I've seen, this is my personal experience, there is a correlation between hard work, happiness, and success. The happier you are, the more persistent hard work you do, the happier you will be. Oh, I've done this today. I've gone through this hardship. And then you'll be happy. Well, if you are happy, then you are successful. You will achieve more in life. So there is a correlation between hard work, so I have written it, happier a person, greater is the hard work he can endure, and greater is the success he can achieve in life. Now, my personal experience, I think you must be also experiencing the same thing. If you work hard during the first few hours of the day, in the morning, I'll say 8 to 12, 10, 12, you'll be happy for the whole day. And whatever you do in the afternoon would also be successful. And at night you will have a good night's sleep. If you keep postponing, procrastinating, something is to be done today, but you keep it for the afternoon, you will feel the morning hours are miserable. Oh, I have to do this, I have to do this. Anxiety is there. And you are not happy. So you are not achieving anything in the morning. If you postpone it for evening, in the evening also, night, you won't sleep better at night. In the morning, you will be miserable again. So it's a cycle. It's a vicious cycle. So 3 or 4 hours of persistent hard work in the morning will keep you happy for the whole day, and your achievement for the day will be maximum. Similarly, 2 or 3 days of hard work in a week, particularly in the beginning of the week, will keep you happy for the whole week. And whatever you do in the rest of the week, you will be successful in that. And you would like to do more and more, because you are motivated by your own action. 2 weeks of hard work early in the month will keep you happy for the whole month. And your output in the month will be maximum. Try this. If you postpone it for the last 2 months, you will be miserable during the first 2 months. Oh, I didn't do this. I had to do this. I had to submit this for students. So I have not done this. I'll do it tomorrow. Keep on postponing. You'll be unhappy, and your output will be less than your potential. So it's very important that you do things early. And a few years, crucial years in your life, particularly when you are in university, few years of persistent hard work will make you happy for the whole life. And if you achieve something at the end of your university, you will have a good career, you will be happier in life. So, in the beginning, your persistent hard work should be in the beginning, whatever it is. Now, what is respect for time? I always say, you must respect time. Persistent hard work and respect for time. Respect for time doesn't mean that you keep doing this at night and morning. Respect for time means everything to be done within the time allotted for this. If you are given, say, examination, you have an hour, 3 hours of an examination. If you don't do it during these 3 hours, there's no use, no matter what we do after that. So everything to be done within the time allotted for this purpose, and that is respect for time. And my experience is, my observation is that if you don't respect time, you will be punished by time, and you won't know you have been punished in various ways. You'll be unhappy, you'll be punished by time. I haven't done this, so you'll be miserable for a few years. You are punished, and you don't know that time has punished you, because you didn't do something that was required to be done in a particular time. So respect for time is very important, not only for students, for all of us in life. Whatever time is available for you doing something, you respect that and you do that during that time. Otherwise, you are not disrespecting time, and time punishes you, and you don't know that you are punished. So these are the things that I wanted to say. I want questions and other things, your opinions about it, because no one is sure what really is time all about, and we are all groping in the dark. The best of scientists, as I mentioned, they are groping in the dark about the nature of time, perspective of time. They have different perspectives. So while we understand that the time has to be utilized, it's a resource, and respect it and utilize it for the right purpose. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for such an insightful talk on time management and the importance of time. You have rightly said that respect for time and persistent hard work will achieve our goal in life. I think the students and all the faculty members have well taken the importance of time and time management. And now the floor is open for Q&A and any queries everybody want to have.
I have a question. Good morning, sir. My name is Rajinder, and Rajinder, yes, and IT is tourism. You have been a successful administrator.
I have been a secretary tourism also.
So you have been a successful administrator, and you are now, because you are full of knowledge about administration. What are those moments which stimulated you to study about space and time?
Space and time.
Yeah. What are those moments which stimulated you to study or to be into this?
It's after my retirement. Before that, I could till any time. Every time there was a time I had something more important to do, and I was in competition with other people also. Only after retirement that one has gone into thinking about all these things. I'd never known that time was so enigmatic when I was in service or before when I was a student. So it's only now.
So, do you think we should inculcate an interest to study about space and time into early age?
Absolutely. Particularly for those who are in science. Very important that they are familiar with the concepts, space, time, and what is it. No, I forgot to tell you one thing. Our universe with the space and time was born at Big Bang. There was a Big Bang. Everything was squeezed in one point. All this energy, all this matter, and everything was in one point. And then there was a Big Bang. And within the first few hours, it expanded like anything. Big Bang, it was 13 point, 5 billion Earth years ago. Earth year. The Earth year is, the time in which the Earth goes around the Sun. So 13.8 billion years ago, there was a Big Bang, and space and time were born. Before that, there was nothing. Now, the universe is expanding because of that force, Big Bang force. At some point of time, it will start contracting. It's like, a ball on a plastic string. So it has to come back. There's no other way. So another 14 billion years ago, it will go on contracting. It will end up in a point again, which is known as singularity. So time and space were both born 13.8 billion years ago. That is our measure. People on the Earth. There may be other people on other planets. They may be having their own measurement, years and so on. So this is what it is, and space and time have both had a birth. That is what the scientists have discovered. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
I was Secretary Tourism in J&K for 6 months.
Did you enjoy that post, sir?
Yeah.
What was the most glamorous job among all these administrative positions?
I have a lot of ideas for tourism, but then in the administration, you have to go wherever you are.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir. My name is Sonam. Yes, sir. I also teach in the tourism department. So my question is.
What are you teaching now?
Yes, sir.
What are you teaching these days?
These days I teach tourism resources,
Tourism
Ladakh. Yes, sir. Tourist behavior. Yes, things like that. Yes, sir. So, sir.
Tourism is one of the industries
Yes, sir.
which is expanding fastest in the world.
Right.
And I think it's because of tourism that Ladakh has become so prosperous.
True, sir.
Although prosperity is positive or negative, that's a different.
Right, sir. Yes, sir.
All this economic prosperity has come, I think, thanks to tourism.
Right, sir.
And then public services. People who have started earning through public services.
Right, sir. So I just recently completed my PhD, and my thesis was titled An Integrated Impact Assessment of Tourism. So I covered all the 3 aspects of tourism. Ladakh, sir. Ladakh. Yes, sir. So, sir, my question is, so how do you stay motivated when the times are tough? Could you give us some personal tips, sir?
Excuse me?
How do you stay motivated when the times are tough?
For my time.
No, sir. In general, when the times are tough, how do you stay motivated? Could you give us some personal tips, sir?
Because I'm trying to do everything that is required to be done in the allotted time. After retirement, you will find that you have so much of time to do stuff. So all those that you miss to do during your active life, you start doing that. And I'm contemplating on many things which I never had a chance to do, including afterlife and other things. So tourism now, Sanam, I want to say, the time has come for Ladakh to give a direction to tourism. Tourism is growing handsomely. It will give you economic prosperity, but your attitudinal culture will suffer. Attitudinal, you are famous for your own culture. People, good people, that kind of thing. These are taking a beating because of the expansion of tourism recklessly. So now's the time. I've been telling him, I told you in the meeting of the UT governing body also. And now's the time to give a proper direction to tourism, keeping in view the environment, keeping in view the culture of the people, keeping in view the general atmosphere in Ladakh. Otherwise, the tourists that are coming to Ladakh to see some things, these will be severe. There are many tourist destinations we have disappeared because of reckless development of tourism. So it's high time that we give a direction to tourism in Ladakh after discussing all stakeholders,
Right.
not only administrators, scholars like you, but generally those who are impacted by tourism. A lot of money has come in tourism sector to the people. How about those who are not earning from tourism? At the moment, Ladakh, I think 55% people are earning something from tourism. The rest of 45%, they are not earning from tourism. Maybe their quality of life is deteriorating. So all these things have to be taken care of before it is too late. And I'm sure your paper might have said all these things.
Yes, sir. So surprisingly, my finding was that the tourism suppliers of Ladakh do not find any negative impacts of tourism because they have vested interest associated with it.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
They are also right. They have to make money because they are in the process of making money. They are right too. But it is for those who have to manage tourism. It is for them to do this. Laid out the rules and procedures. And I think we should have tourist police also, like we had in Kashmir. Tourist police is very important. Like people are driving in the Pangong Lake. I've seen one.
Yes, sir. There is an incident.
Chadar and so on. Now give a new direction to tourism and then accordingly you expand tourism. We have done very well so far. I think in order to better in future, I think we have to change the direction to some extent.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
A very good morning, sir. It's my biggest dream to go and listen to your talk, and my dream has accomplished today. Thank you so much. I think everyone. So my question is, if you compare our great-grandparents, when there was no technology, still they managed to accomplish their works. They have to do everything from the scratch. It's not a paradox for the modern people. They have lots of options, flexibility. Still, they complain that they don't have time. So, what do you say about that? So, I have another second question. Shall I continue, sir? Yes, sir. I'm also very much. I have a very strong passion for this astronomy and all. So I keep on following this. There are two astronomers. There's an astronomer who spent long time in space. His name is Scott Kelly. American, and another his sibling is Mark Kelly. So I think he spent ample of time in space. While coming back, they keep on measuring his anatomy and all these physiological changes. So they said that the scientists said that his heart has become grown much smaller. So his time span has living for time. The time span has changed, and so his heart is much smaller than before. So I don't know. What do you say about
You
that?
might have come back much younger, because he traveled in space.
Yes, sir. But he says that he's like everything, because we don't much do in space. So that's why his organ has shrunk much more.
Absolutely. All
Thank you.
perception to space. Now we are born on we are stuck to the earth. So we think in terms of the earth and so on, the rest stars and so on. But space is a different cup of tea. You know how many trillions of stars are there? Trillions. We see only very few of them. Our Milky Way has billions of stars, billions of suns. When you go to the space, your vision is open to that, and you feel so small, insignificant. You are really insignificant because of what is happening in the space, and it's still expanding. And we don't even know in how many planets in this whole universe there will be there will be lives like us. And we feel that we are at the center of the whole thing. Anthropocentric. The human beings are at the center. Maybe there are other living beings which are much smarter than us, much more intelligent. when you open up, you are open to a new perspective of the whole universe. Other people won't. Those who have not studied science will not think about this. So it's very important that we, as students also, and we are your teachers, you keep thinking about this as and when you get time, and utilize the time for thinking positively and how to make best use of this in your present life, to grow your intellectual capacity, to grow your own personality.
Any other questions?
Good morning, sir. My name is Tariq Ahmed. Tariq Ahmed. I'm a student of Geology Department. Geology. सर मेरा क्वेश्चन है कि हम कहते हैं कि भाई वक्त जो है किसी का इंतजार नहीं करता है.
किसके लिए?
वक्त जो है टाइम किसी का इंतजार नहीं करता है. ऑन द कंट्रास्ट हम ये कहते हैं कि भाई सब कुछ ठीक हो जाएगा वक्त के समय. तो आप इसके बारे में क्या कहना चाहते हैं?
वक्त किसी का इंतजार नहीं करता है. I already said
Time is tight wait for none. I think time is tight wait for none.
Very, very right. And therefore, respect for time and management, very important. Those who know this, they respect time and plan everything accordingly. I think they will be more successful in life. Otherwise, they will end up being miserable, thinking, I haven't done much in my life, and so on and so forth. So, in order to shorten this distance between ambition and achievement, one must respect time. That's why. So I entirely agree with you. The thinking is, I think, we should grow beyond this thinking also. They don't wait for anyone, so there's no point in chasing time. Time must be utilized when it is available to the full. That is what my burden of what I wanted to convey to you. Thank you.
A question from students?
little confusion about this, that you told that we have to make a checklist of the things to be done as per the priority in order to maintain the time management. So sometimes we have all been going through the multitasking also. At the same time, we have been performing two tasks together. And this will be enhancing the stress level also, anxiety level also, how to cope with that multitasking.
So about the multitasking, if you have to do many things, say in a day or in a month or so, the best way of doing this is doing one thing at a time. Don't you ever try to do many things at a time. You'll end up doing none of these properly. So if you have many things to do in 1 hour, do one thing at a time. And the most important thing of all, first of all, your achievement will be maximum. So don't please do all the things that you have to do simultaneously, then your attention will be divided and you won't achieve much. Do one thing at a time. That's my experience also. If you have, say, 10 things to be done in a thing, do one thing at a time. Don't do all the 10 things at the same time. And then you will end up doing all the 10 things properly. If you try to do all these things, then none of these will be properly done by you. That's my personal experience. I entirely agree with you.
Any other questions?
Good morning, sir. Sir, my name is Relativity. Relativity, sir. Relativity. Yes, sir. Department of Zoology से हूँ सर. सर मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि सर जैसे आजकल हम व्हाट्सएप पे बहुत सारे यानी चैटिंग वेटिंग करता है सर, ठीक है. तो चैटिंग के दौरान सर फॉर एग्जांपल हमने अगर किसी का कोई फॉर एग्जांपल किसी का कोई काम किया तो वो वहाँ से रिप्लाई करता है कि सर इट्स माय प्लेजर. And some of them also reply that it's also my happiness. But what is the actual difference between that two words, sir, the pleasure and happiness?
Now you are doing something for someone else.
Yes.
You find something to you, and you say, you said, I'm happy that you have done this for me. And for me, it's a pleasure that I have been able to do this for you. So both are happy. But the thing is, you have done something positive. Think of the other way around. If I have harmed you in some way, I may be happy for having harmed you because I wanted to harm you. But you are miserable because I have done this wrong to you. You have been wronged by me. So it's a relative thing. What makes you happy, what makes you sad about this. And once you, that's what also said, you must have control on your tongue. What you speak to one individual or for a crowd like this, think before you speak. Otherwise, perhaps it may harm the emotions of other people. So I think it depends on, what transmitted between me and you.
And so how should we define subconscious mind? So what is the actual meaning of subconscious mind? Subconscious mind.
Subconscious mind means, suppose I am a corrupt person, okay, and I'm earning a lot of money. I may be looking happy that I'm prosperous and so on, but my subconscious is there. I always feel in my subconscious miserable because I have done this wrong to the people. Yes. And you fall within your own esteem. I have seen, this is my experience. Corrupt people, you say, oh, he's doing well, he's earned a lot of money. But we don't know that he has fallen in his own esteem. I have done this wrong to the society. Yes. He won't be, we don't know, he will not be sleeping, I think, peacefully at night. I've seen many people going emotionally awry. Those who have done well in life because of incorrect procedures. So, subconscious is very important. You must keep your subconscious also happy by not doing something which should not be done. Otherwise, your subconscious will punish you. Yes. Without your knowing that you have been punished. Yes. You fall within your own esteem is what I would say. That is very important. Yes, thank you, sir.
Good morning, sir. My name is C.Phunsog and I am doing my master's in history. How is gravity, the gravitational pull of the Earth is affecting time?
How, no one knows. But we know that it affects time. In a heavy gravity situation, time passes slower. As I said about the observer also. If the observer is moving very fast, time will pass slower for him or her. One thing which some of the science students must be knowing is, what is gravity? Gravity, people say, oh, it's a force. Force, a gravity of the sun and between the sun and the earth. It's a force that attracts towards the sun. Gravity between human being and the earth, it attracts us, and the earth's gravity. But it's not a force. That is what has been discovered by Einstein. It's not a force. Gravity, warps the time-space fabric. You have a time-space fabric. Time and space, as I said, we can't imagine time without space and space without time. It's a fabric. When there is something, when there is a heavy matter somewhere, because of the gravity, the fabric gets warped, becomes dead up. So today, your moon is going round the earth, but actually the moon is moving in straight line. But because the fabric is, curved, it has to go round and round the earth. You understand? There is no force, that is keeping this in the orbit. It is the fabric which is warped. That is Einstein's general theory of relativity. Gravity is not a force like that, because the gravity, every matter has its gravity around this, which makes the space around this curved. And therefore, what moves straight in the, because the space is curved, you have to go round and round. So, the Earth's revolution around the Sun is a straight line movement of the Earth in a curved fabric. That is the general theory of relativity, Einstein's. Thank you.
And so, I have a perception that small insects have a different perception of time. For example, time would be very slow for them. Is it true?
No. If they're moving fast, then yes, it will move slow. You know, the birds have, in their own brain also, clocks and other things. You know, the migratory birds on Tampachon, what do we call it? On the 15th of the first month, you will see these migratory birds moving around. So they have a clock fixed in their brain, and nature has done that. So, it's all relative.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for your valuable time and your suggestion. Now may I request Professor Deshmukh Nangal to propose a vote of thanks.
Most respected C.Phunsog, all the staff members and very especially my dear students. I simply believe that we couldn't have had any better speaker, especially on this very topic, time management, than Shri C.Phunsog. Why I'm saying so? Because in the last so many years, Ladakh has changed a lot. I mean, it has changed from, I don't know what kind of a Ladakh it was in the beginning, and now the kind of a Ladakh we have in front of us. Now, Shri C.Phunsog has seen all these changes. He has experienced all these changes. And as one of speaker also, audience also said that, the time in the earlier days in Ladakh was a very relaxed one. And now time has come when you have everything going very fast, and still people don't have time. I personally believe that although Sir said that he started contemplating on these points after his retirement from active service life, but I believe the things that he said regarding management of time, like keeping a work schedule, keeping a checklist of things to do, and then setting calendars, and of course the persistent hard work, etc., etc. I must say that Shri C.Phunsog practically used all these things in his life, and that is the reason why he is the very first Ladakhi IAS officer from Ladakh who ranked 34, I think 34 or 36, I'm not very sure, but 38. Yeah, 38. Who ranked 38, and because of his service given to the not only to the Ladakh but to the entire nation also, one thing which sir, for enlightening our audience and very especially our students with your what do you say, spellbound lecture on time management. And I believe, and again, very especially for our students, I believe that they will be working on this time management lecture practically in their own life, so that they also rise to the highest level in their life. I thank Sultan for organizing such a wonderful lecture for all of us. I would like to end up with one last quote in Hindi, which fits very particularly on the C.Phunsog, or former Vice-chancellor, but at the same time I wish it fits on each one of you if you apply this very thing in your life. The thing is, the quote is like, जिंदगी में इतनी शिद्दत के साथ अपने किरदार को निभाओ कि पर्दा गिरने के बाद भी तालियां बजती हैं.
Excuse me, sir. There's a request on this wonderful occasion, auspicious occasion. A student wanted to offer a song. She really wanted to sing, sir, for this song.
Today Sunday, we are student Sunday. We sangat juga nombor merah ni. Cina kami sama berada sama dengan lain bukan saya dengan saya pembuat. Ini tujuh cuman sama saya. Jawab jenis sama bingung saya. beautiful song. It was such a beautiful song to conclude this session. And thanks everybody who has taken out their time and assembled over here. Thank you so much.